Hey, you know what it is. You know where you is. Yes, it is that time once again. Welcome into the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Yes, this is the place where possibilities become perspective. That's right, guys. Welcome once again into the I Am the Possible universe. I is your host, Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What, and I am your self-worth specialist, guys. I am so pumped up, so fired up today because we are back with the interview series. That's right, baby. Not interview, interview, a view inside the mind, the thoughts, the hearts of some amazing people. And today's guest, guys, is certainly an amazing woman, a powerhouse, a power coach. I'm going to read you her bio, but let me tell you something. She is a woman that I met maybe a couple of years ago. I was on her platform. I was in her private Facebook group, and we did an interview together. But she is a light in dark places, man. She is such a light, such a gem. She is so, well versed, educated. And listen, I don't want to let too much out the bag. I want to let you guys listen to this interview and just glean from her wisdom and her knowledge and her experience. She ministered to me in some amazing ways, really helped me to see some things that I was wrestling with and challenging or being challenged with in my own personal life. So again, I'm probably saying too much, but I'm just so pumped up, so excited about you guys getting this information from this amazing woman, Aura Martinez. Aura Martinez. I even love the name Aura, right? Just makes you think about having an aura, right? Someone who has an aura is someone who just walks into a space, walks into a room, and you can feel their energy. They are culture changers. They change the culture. And I believe with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength that aura is definitely going to change the culture. So let me just read you her bio, and then we're going to pick right up in the not the middle, but we're just going to kind of flow right into the conversation that I had with her. As you guys know, I love having conversations. These are not interviews, but these are conversations because I believe that change happens in and through a good old fashioned conversation. So let me read you her bio as an introduction, and then let's flow right into this week's episode. All right. Aura Martinez, Aura E. Martinez, is a self-development and empowerment coach and creator of the Aura Blueprint, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so they can wake up to a life of daily fulfillment and certainty. As a person who has traveled the world as a flight attendant, the opportunity has helped her learn and see so much, and she has discovered the most valuable place for us all to see that is truly the key to greater well-being, and she shares that with others worldwide. She is also the founder of Live to the Max, author of the book, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness. Start having the life you deserve and creating a lifetime of wellness. A journal, your personal coach to the different areas of your life. Her book has been seen in Spirituality and Health Magazine, Psychology Today, and Natural Awakening, the New York City edition magazine. Guys, I welcome to the stage, the virtual stage, the podcast stage, whether you are watching or listening. Here is my conversation with Aura E. Martinez. Be blessed. I've got some questions that I want to ask, but I think that's always a great place to kind of start. What is it that you do, and how did you, come into doing what it is that you do?
Yes. I'm a self discovery and empowerment coach, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so that they can wake up to daily fulfillment and certainty. And By the way, for anyone that has self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, this that I'm going to be sharing is going to be gold, what I'm going to be sharing today. So I actually started out as a wellness and life coach, helping people get out of the sugar roller coaster they were in and lose weight, right? And I was on that journey too, because I had my own weight issues. And one thing that I realized, not just with my own story, but also some of the clients that would come to me, their story as well, is that the issue was not that they needed to know what to eat, what exercise to do. There was a relationship that they were having with food and their body that was getting in the way of them losing weight. And that's when I understood that if we were to get to the core of who we really are, we can literally and simultaneously change several areas of ourselves and our life, because everything is connected. And we are the start of everything and also the end of everything when it comes to our life.
Oh man. You know that's funny because I'm literally in the minute, or not in the minute. I'm well to the minute, but I'm in the season right now. I've always been a chubby kid, and well, not always. I mean, my pictures kind of dating back as a child. It was around age 7 or age 8 is when I started gaining weight. But ever since about the age of 8, I've been what they would consider a chubby kid, a heavier kid. So I naturally pick up weight and I carry weight. And right now, I just got this Fitbit, and I've been preaching to everybody, just how great this thing is. But it's funny that you started there, because I'm currently on a weight loss journey to really lose these extra pounds, and it's fascinating that you would say that everything is integrated, everything is connected. Can you share? I mean, I'm interested, to be honest. Like, what would be like one thing that we should understand and know about connecting the true self to overcoming that sugar addiction, or overcoming any sort of food challenge in our lives? Because I would even, selfishly want to know myself if there's anything that you could just share in that space.
Of course. So I'm going to utilize myself as an example. So after I had lost all the weight and then some, after my father passed, I actually gained most of those pounds back.
Okay.
And what I did not realize, and mind you, I'm a coach myself. And when you are living your own life, you could get so caught up in everything that you miss even the things that you teach others. This is why it's so important that we have our own coaches, our own mentors. So I did not realize that I was eating a lot at night, at night, at night. Okay. And
Right.
yeah, I put emphasis on that. And there's a reason why. I'm going to tie it all together with the fact that I said that everything starts from us. It wasn't until 2020, I was gaining the pounds. I mean, I noticed because I had to buy other clothing, bigger clothing, but
Right.
still it was so out of my sight what was really going on. It wasn't until 2020 that my mom started getting really sick, and I really, really needed to hire someone else apart from all the other people that I had hired. And it was someone that specializes in grief and caretaking, because I was at this point taking care of my mom. And she brought something up to my attention. She was like, you know that you never grieved your dad properly? It hit me because I knew it resonated. And ever since I started grieving my dad, because I didn't want to grieve my dad. Can you believe that? I
Yeah.
did not want to admit that he was physically gone. I did not want to face that. And the way that I was dealing with the grief, because I had to be strong, not just for me, but also for my mom,
Mhm.
it was through food.
Wow.
I was numbing my anxiety through food.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so the weight that I then gained the second time, the first time it was due to stress because I was for 5 weeks training to be a flight attendant and it was
Okay.
stressful. This
Okay.
second time, this second time it was because I didn't allow myself to grieve. And so sometimes we don't realize that a lot of the weight that we gain, of course, there are exceptions, right? Of course, I'm not saying that this is everyone's case.
Hmm.
And I too, because my dad had a tendency of gaining weight, I also have a tendency to gain weight, even though my mom is skinny, but it's a bit different for her. The point is this: there are times that we don't realize that the way we utilize food is not for the purpose that food was meant to be utilized, which is to fuel our body, but because we're doing it out of comfort, out of something we don't want to face, out of anxiety, stress. And so the more we do the work to connect with ourselves, to face what is going on within us, to face what is going on within here too. Because that's the thing. If we don't know how to master this and this, meaning our feelings,
That's right.
everything outside of us is going to start mastering us.
Wow. 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 Yeah. That totally makes sense, because I am definitely a night eater. And I've been, with the help of this thing, I've been able to do a lot better. But tying it into utilizing it, utilizing food for what it's meant for, which is to fuel the body for energy, but we're using it as something else, some sort of regulator, some sort of number, something other than what it was purposed for. Makes a lot of sense. And it's something that, if we're not doing that inner work and we're not mastering something within us, then something outside of us is going to master us. Wow. What would you say for someone, just a piece of advice, something, if someone currently, maybe it's not food, but maybe they're doing something else, maybe it's drugs, alcohol, maybe it's sex, maybe it's just something else, and they're utilizing that thing outside of themselves to try to regulate and, deal with or escape what's going on within them. What would you say would be, sort of that first step in, changing that behavior? What would be the first thing that they might want to focus on or do or become aware of? Because obviously it's a journey, it's a process, but where would they start in that process?
I would say face it. Face the storm. And I remember there was something that you posted. God is in the storm. Face the storm. Why do you want to face yourself? And that's one of the hardest things to do. Let me just say that. But I'm going to say this too. It's one of the most liberating things that any of us can do, because our gold, our freedom, the things that we want isn't facing whatever it is that's bothering us. That's like the first thing. But then again, what is the first step? Because it's hard to face something that you don't even realize you have to face. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I would say this. If you notice that your life isn't, because something, unfortunately, as human beings, we have to be very uncomfortable for us to be like, okay, no, something has to change. So if you notice that something is so uncomfortable, ask yourself, what is it that I'm uncomfortable with? What is it that I'm uncomfortable with? Because once you notice that, then you're going to realize what it is that you have to face. It took me, when it came to losing weight, going from the first floor to the second, I was already like,
wow.
And that's when I was like, okay, I am not liking this. I'm in my 20s. I cannot breathe properly the way I was before. Something is seriously wrong. And then on top of that, it took, I'm going to say something funny here, but I cannot make this up. I had a passenger tell me one time, mind you, at the time, I had a lot of acne, a lot of glasses, braces, chubby. A passenger had the audacity to say to me, you look like Ugly Betty. That
wow.
That in combination, I mean, I laugh about it now.
Yeah.
But that in combination of climbing up the stairs and feeling a bit out of breath, that was enough for me to say, okay, something has to change. So a lot of times as human beings, it takes us noticing that something is completely off for us to then be like, okay, what is it that I have to face? But it's so important to face it, because a lot of times, even when people notice that something is off, it's hard for them to face it.
Yes. Yes, it
You
is.
have to face it.
Mm.
Go through the storm. Your gold is there. The answers are
Ooh.
there. And the
Mm.
what you need to transform is there. And like
Mm.
you said, God is actually in the storm.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I was meditating on. It's so funny that you brought that up because I've been meditating on. I was at the gym yesterday and I was doing my workout, and you get to a point when you're working out where maybe you're running on a treadmill and it's easy. And then maybe you're doing your jump ropes, and okay, it's a little challenging. Then maybe you're doing your kettlebell swings, and okay, you get a little more challenging. But then you do something like at some point you're starting to like tap out, right? You're getting to that point where it's like, okay, now this is hurting, this is uncomfortable, but you're not physically hurt. It's just your heart is beating fast and hard, and you're sweating profusely, and you're getting to that point where it's like, oh, this is not gonna, this is okay. I'm ready to stop. And I was thinking how at that point, that's what I would consider in my own context the fire, right? It's it's if you go right up to that point and then you back off, you are never going to physically change. It's the reps, the sets, the whatever you're doing after that point, that what we would consider in fitness the gains. That's when you're starting to really put yourself under tension, and that's where you trigger growth in the body, right? And I was thinking through the scriptures, and I was saying to myself, there is no miraculous sign in the Bible that occurs unless the person goes in and through the fire. Like Daniel had to go in the lion's den. There was no like going up to the door. Oh yeah, there goes a few lions. Yeah, hey God, I see the lions. That's enough. I learned my lesson, and I'm transformed. He had to get into the den, right? The three Hebrew boys, they had to get into the furnace. They couldn't just go up to the door. Okay, it's real hot in there, and okay, God, I got it. No, man, you got to get in the furnace. And so, hearing what you say is so profound. It's no, you have to face that fire. And it's like, if you want that God experience or that transformation or that weight loss, whatever it is that we want, realizing that it's truly on the other side of that fire, I think helps us and really inspires us and really motivates us to go through it. Can you share in your own experience, in your own life, and you can pick it, right? Just free flow. A time where you consciously said, this is my fire. Okay. I do not want to do this. But you recognize like this is the fire, man. And if I don't do blank, it ain't never gonna change. Can you share with us one of those types of stories and just take us through the process? What was going through your head, the emotions, how you felt, and kind of how you eventually got through it?
Yeah. So there's several fires we go through our life. Another one of those, and I didn't realize that until business.
Okay.
It was the fact that I had a hatred towards a part of myself. That was a big fire. I'm gonna explain to you why.
Okay. Sure.
So when it came to business, somehow showing up online and being visible scared me. It just scared me. And it was just so hard for me to do the bigger things. And it wasn't until through coaching, because I worked with a mentor and she had a coach as well, and that was my coach. I realized I had a big wound, and it was a hatred that I had towards myself, and it was a hatred towards my hair. Now, you would think this has nothing to do with business, right? It's like, what does hating your hair have to do with business? The interesting thing is that it was affecting not just my business, it was affecting the way I was interacting with men, it was affecting the way I was showing up, it was affecting my self worth.
Mm.
And in the process, I was like, okay, so I have this hatred. I knew I always had that, but it was so in my face at this point. Facing it was one of the most difficult things. And I remember that during the coaching sessions, there was one session that I cried and it was so hard for me to look at myself in the mirror. My coach told me, take the bun out. No, I told her, no, you don't realize my hair does not look so good. No, I want you to take all that off. And I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. No, I could not see myself in the mirror. Can you believe that? I could not see myself. Now, I want to stop right here for a minute. Mm-hmm. The moment you are not able to see yourself fully, the way you really are, it's impossible for you to have the success that you want, because there will always be a barrier that won't allow you to take that step. Mm-hmm. That's going to affect your money. It was affecting how much I was making in my business. Can you believe that? Because think about it. If you hate any part of yourself, that's going to have a ripple effect in everything in your life. And so if you don't like the way you look, the way you are, I didn't even think I was the look of success. Can you believe that? Now, I'm not even going to get into all, because this is a societal cultural thing. My parents are from Dominican Republic. And like in most Latin American countries, curly hair like mine was always considered bad hair. That is so detrimental. Let me tell you that. To have that belief from generation to generation, it is so detrimental. Not even going to go there because that's already touching a different topic. Okay. But all right. The point is this. That hatred had me believing I wasn't good enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't worthy enough to be in certain circles of people. Can you believe that? That's amazing. And so after I was able to see myself, see the texture on my hair, feel the texture on my hair. I went to a salon, the way they pampered myself. I started noticing other women that started looking a little bit more like me. Mm-hmm. When I really truly saw myself and how beautiful I am and what God has created, what the universe had created in me, boom, mm-hmm. The money started opening up. Can you believe people were like, oh my God, your hair's so pretty? I had never heard that. My curls are so pretty. But you know what they were reflecting to me? Mm-hmm. They were reflecting what I was now seeing about myself. See, the outer world will always reflect what's already going on within you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to clarify this. At this point, I don't care if I wear a bun. I have no problem straightening my hair. But see, now I straighten my hair from a different place. I do it because I feel like it, not because I'm hiding something from myself. See, anytime you do anything to hide any part of yourself, it's not going to work. Because energetically, what you're putting out there, it's going to repel. You're going to repel the people that are meant for you. You're going to repel the things that are meant for you. So you can only imagine what kind of men I was attracting in my life too. Because if that's what you have going on, if you have any kind of low self-esteem, forget it. You're going to attract the men that are insecure. You're going to attract the men that they're going to tell you things that you have no business listening to, because that's not the truth of who you really are. Mm-hmm. This is why connecting to that deeper part of yourself. And really removing the things that don't belong to you, because this is bad hair. No, that doesn't belong to me. If that's what you think, that is your business. But that has nothing to do with me. Can I get an amen?
Amen. I got one from me.
Yes. So it took a month and a half for me to heal that, but it was like every week working with my coach, and I was just crying, eyeballing every single day. But after I saw myself, I started stepping into who I really am. And that's when people started noticing a change in me. They're like, you're so confident. Yeah, because this is who I really was. And I took out the crap, the garbage that God never deposited within me. The universe sees beauty in us. God sees beauty in us. Mm-hmm. And when we cannot see our own beauty, that takes us away from what God has deposited in us. That takes us away from what the universe deposited in us. It's so important that we really know how to distinguish what is the truth of who we really are and what are the lies.
My goodness. Yeah, I knew. Oh my God. Yeah, wow. I'm okay. I'm conducting an interview slash conversation, so I'm not supposed to be speechless right now. Okay, I'm not supposed to be speechless right now. Wow. You're hitting on so many levels because and see, that's the thing. I don't want to be selfish. And you know what? I'm not being selfish. I'm gonna receive everything that you're saying because you are ministering to me. But the audience, y'all get whatever y'all get from this. I'm eating a full meal right now because it is filling me up right now. Listen, okay, you are hitting on some stuff. I got all these questions over here on my cell phone. I don't know if we'll ever get to these questions or not. I am such a believer in the moment will provide. The moment will provide. And right now, you're providing some healing, certainly some healing for me, and I certainly believe healing for the overall audience because someone needs to hear what you're saying. And there's a reason that we're talking about self-image, the self-concept of the true, authentic self. Someone definitely needs to hear that. I need to hear that because you just hit on something that has been a struggle for me. Even in this current season, you talked about hiding a part of yourself, and I'm gonna be vulnerable. Because I'm in this weight loss journey, and I'm gonna be creating some content around it just to share my struggle and share my story to help others to be able to heal. But specifically on what you just said, I find myself wearing clothing that's bigger because I'm trying to hide and I don't want to expose not only to other people but to myself. The extra weight, the extra little roll, and you're not a V shape, you're not a V taper as we say in bodybuilding. I don't have this perfect shape yet, right? And my own story. I'm looking down the road. Oh, in 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, I'll wear that shirt because I'll be more comfortable with myself. But what I'm hearing you say, it's like in the proper context, you need to be wearing that shirt now, or you need to just be like okay with and looking at and seeing. That was really what I was getting from it. Seeing yourself, because a lot of times when you wear baggy clothes and you don't want to show certain parts, it's like you're playing a game with yourself. And maybe it's not a game, but you're doing this thing with yourself where it's, I don't want to see what's there. Not now. Give me 6 months, give me 7 months. Man, can you unpack that just some more on, just because I'm going through it. Like literally, we're in this conversation. I'm real time doing exactly what you said. What would you say to me? What would you how would you advise me, even literally right now with where I'm at right now? And I'm sure those that are listening will glean from that.
Yeah. The one person you don't want to lie to is yourself. That is because the moment you lie to yourself, you don't realize it at the moment, but it does something to you in the way you see yourself, in the way you feel about yourself, right? You're the first person you do not want to lie to. So you always want to tell yourself the truth. And another thing too,
Mhm.
you are where you are in your journey, right? I
That's right.
think that so many times we want to not be right where we're at in the journey. And when we try to not want to be where we're at in the journey, we disturb something so beautiful that is meant to be happening. So rather than, no, I'm just going to accept myself where I'm at. If for whatever reason you don't accept yourself where you're at, that's okay. Be okay with that. Okay, I do not accept this about myself, because there you're being loving towards yourself, right? And so rather than not accepting it, be curious. Okay, why am I not accepting me? Get curious,
Mm.
right? Because in that curiosity, when you lean in that curiosity, you may understand something about yourself that was a blind spot.
Mhm.
that provides an opportunity for another kind of healing, that provides another opportunity for another level of awareness that was not there. Now, for whoever that may be thinking, well, am I going to be healing all my life? Well, it is what it is,
Right.
right? And there's
Mhm.
beauty in that. That does not mean you're
Mhm.
going to be poking a hole. Do I need to heal here? Oh, well, do I need to? You don't want to be poking holes. But whatever arises,
Mhm.
embrace it,
Mhm.
right? And lean in. Embrace it and lean in. I think that's what matters more, rather than let me force myself to do this. Let me force myself. No, you are where you are in your journey. Embrace it and just get curious.
Mhm. Yes, yes, yes. So if you guys are listening, well, not if you're listening, because you're listening, lean in, learning to lean in, and whatever that leaning in means for you, right? It's your context, it's your life, it's your experience of life, and it's going to be different for everyone. And what I've learned and what I'm continuing to be reminded of, so I'm constantly learning, is that this world loves to put us in, and I don't know if you would agree with this, but this world is very categorical. It's very
Oh
put
yeah.
you in slots, right? Put you in demographics. We love demographics. We love slots. We love criterias. We love, right, the proverbial box. And I just want to give permission to anyone that's watching or listening. The box doesn't exist. You are so one of a kind. The box is, if you ever watched the movie The Matrix, the box is the matrix. It does not exist except in our own minds. It will exist in your own mind, and your perception is your reality, right? It's your world that you have to live in. And so what I hear you saying is, we can break the box, we can create a new reality, we can have a new perception by leaning in. And I love what you said. It's this idea of being curious about where we are, loving where we are, embracing where we are, because that's a part of the journey. And I think what I'm receiving, like, how someone will say something, but you will hear a message underneath what they're saying. What I was hearing in that moment, because this is something that I'm dealing with, um, was that I will miss valuable lessons, valuable information, valuable data, valuable, life lessons, kind of however you want to frame it. But I'll be missing something very valuable if I continue to not see myself where I am today.
Oh
The
yes.
the 200 something pound me. Yes, in 6 months, yes, in 8 months, I'll be the 100 and whatever pound me. But for today, right, at the time of this recording, I'm the 200-pound something Travell. And Travell is going to start to look at that 200-pound something Travell. And I just thank you for that. That was a gift that you just gave me. So I really appreciate that. And I'm curious. I'm looking forward to seeing what I see and what I'll be able to take from that, and to be able to at some time, at some point, offer to someone else. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
you. I
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
That is great. That is great. I hope you guys are getting your deliverance. I hope you guys are getting your breakthroughs, because I'm getting mine. Um, so I do have a few little core questions that I want to get into, because I'm so curious about this. I have watched so much of your content, and I just got to tell you, and this is so off topic, but I'm just getting to know you, and the audience is getting to know you. I have this little jealousy. Okay, I'm going to confess it. I got this little jealousy. Okay, I'm jealous of you in this little way, and you are always going to Milan. You are always flying. You are always traveling. You're always, okay, guys, I just got back and I'm little, jet lag, and I'm just like, man, she is always going somewhere. What are you doing when you go? What are you engaging in? What are those trips for, if you don't mind sharing? But I've just been quietly jealous of your lifestyle, because I desire to travel the world as well. I desire to go around this world speaking and preaching and teaching, and I do believe that one day I'll be able to do that. But yeah, you're always traveling. You're always on the go. So where do you be going? What do you be doing? Just share if you if it's okay.
It's okay. So I'm also a flight attendant, apart from all the things that I do. And because I speak Italian, I'm always going to Milan.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay.
So at one point, I was only going to Spain because I speak also Spanish. At one point, I was only going to Brazil because I also speak Portuguese. And now, yeah. And now Italy again. Yeah. So
All those, where did you learn those languages? That was that something that you just aspired? Hey, I want to pick up a couple of extra languages, or was it a necessity that you learn those languages?
mm-mm. I've always loved languages since I was a child. So Spanish I speak since I was a child because my parents are from Dominican Republic, but I also took courses in Spanish in high school and college. Italian I learned because there was an Italian family that wanted to host me. And when I learned that they only spoke Italian, I was like, okay, I need to speak the language because I want us to understand each other. So that pushed me to learn Italian, but then I fell in love with it, continue learning it. And so then I was teaching and tutoring in Italian. Portuguese, I learned while I was in college on my own.
Okay.
So I already spoke these languages since way before. I always loved languages. So
Oh, cool. That is awesome. Yeah. How long did it take you to, I mean, just from someone, because I live in California, and so it's always been a thing for me ever since we got here. I never put my mind to do it. I know I can if I focus on it, but I never got around to learning Spanish because, there's so much culture out here that I could be experiencing on a different level if I spoke the language. Um, was it tough for you to learn it? Did it come easy because you learned it younger? Just what was your experience with it? Did it come easily, or was it really rough to learn it?
for me, Italian came very easy. I don't know if in another life I was Italian, who knows? But in a matter of several months, I was already able to read, speak, and write in Italian. Now, granted, I was watching things in Italian, even though I didn't understand anything. And so little by little, I was picking up the words. I
Okay.
was just treating it like if I was a child. Because if you think about it, when we're kids,
Mhm,
we
mhm.
weren't born speaking a language, we were just exposed to it. And so that's how I treated languages. I just exposed myself to it. I'm not here forcing myself, okay, I got to remember this. I mean, there was some type of remembering, but I treated it as the way kids do. Okay, this is agua, agua. And let me repeat it. Agua. I just,
Right.
so when it comes to languages,
Yeah.
I would say have fun with it. And one thing that I would say to the people that okay, back in college, they were impressed, the language department, with how quickly I spoke Italian, that I would help out by the professor whenever she called out, I was the one taking her place. One of the things that I would say to people is make all the mistakes you want. There's no shame.
Mhm.
As adults, we get so afraid to make mistakes. You have to make mistakes. You're going to learn through mistakes. We need to go
Mhm.
back to being like children, because as children they have the right concept. They would
Mhm.
fall, they get up, they fall. And so we need to be willing to fall, because that's how we're going to keep mastering and learning. And that applies to everything besides languages, by the way. So
Mhm.
yeah.
That is so true. That is so true. It reminds me of the scripture about becoming like a little child and to inherit the kingdom of God. And I was just yesterday, to your point, because it's so true. I love what you said. You said that they have the right perspective on this thing. Like they got the right mindset. Yesterday I was covering service for my church, and I won't go into all the details, but I just got bombarded with a lot of requests, just ad hoc, just didn't see them coming, left field, do this, and this. And so, I kind of, I've learned how to use certain breathing techniques and kind of how to slow my brain down and okay, let's put this in a proper context and let's kind of flow with it. But to be honest, I mean, it was coming so rapid that it kind of overwhelmed me. And so I got up there and I tried to go through all the different things that I needed to do, and there was a lot of fumbling and stumbling, let me tell you. And because I'm a recovering, this is what I call it. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I was very critical of myself. I was really, really critical. And I was saying, man, I missed this point. Man, I messed that point. Man, I could have did better there. I could have did better there. And as I was driving home, it kind of dawned on me, hey, pump the brakes, man. Show yourself some compassion. Understand you were just in the fire, as we talked about earlier, brother. You was just in the fire. No one knew what you were dealing with and what in a sense pressure you were under. And so all these internal critics, you know what? Zip it, okay? Because I just did something. I stepped up to the plate and I didn't retreat. I didn't surrender. I didn't cower out. I faced that fire and I did the best I could do. I shared that because it's like you said, a child falls down, they just get back up. They don't complicate it. They don't trip out. They fall and they freaking get just right back up, and they stumble a little further and they fall again and they get up and pick their little pamper up and they just keep going again. And so that's just a beautiful illustration that you shared. It's just you just get back up, man. Let's just do it again. But like you said, as an adult, it is so difficult to do that. Yeah, because we've just learned to try to look a certain way and be a certain way to fit in or to be accepted. And it goes back to those boxes and categories. Yeah. So I've been watching you for quite some time. We've been knowing each other for quite some time here, and whether it was on your website, whether it was your Facebook group, which I totally love that name again, Inner Globetrotters. I just love that inner piece because we are traveling within, trying to figure some stuff out within ourselves, Lord knows. And you were the first person, let me tell you, you were the first person, and that's one of the reasons I really connected with you and really support the work that you do. You were the first person that I ever saw use the phrase self-discovery in anything. Like, I call myself a self-worth specialist. My whole tag is the greatest form of self-development is self-discovery. So I champion self-discovery. All I talk about is going inside. Before we level up, you need to level down, find out what's on the inside and all this other stuff that I use. Can you speak about why self-discovery is so powerful for you? Why it's such at the forefront? Because I know why I believe in it. I know why I support you 100%. I know why I love your content, and I love why, I love what you do because I get it. But if I'm listening for the first time, or those who are listening, watching, they've never really understood the concept, the value of self-discovery. To them, it might sound cliche. It might sound like, I'm trying to level up, man. I'm trying to get the bag. And you talking about some self-discovery, like whatever junk people are bringing into that, conversation. Can you explain why self-discovery is so important to our self-development, and why it's so important to just our quality of life in general, in your words?
Yeah. Everything that we are wanting, absolutely everything. It doesn't even matter what it is, whether that is love, whether that is money, a good career. It all starts with us. See, we've been so trained to go outside of ourselves, to use this tool to figure ourselves out. If only we were to ask the better questions and really go within, right? Everything starts within. Anything that you're wanting to attract, it first starts with you, because you attract not what it is that you want, but who you are. You attract who you are. And so whatever it is that you are wanting, it requires you to be first. So if you think about it, that body that you want, that house that you want, you first got to be that person. You're probably thinking, house? What does that have to do with me being? I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. So for me to have lost all the weight and to be 112 pounds when I was 144 pounds, I had to act like a person that weighs 112 pounds at 144. That means that I had to be a disciplined person. That means that I had to eat right, prep my meals, cook my meals, work out like a person that already weighs that. That means that I have to ignore reality. Ignore reality, you may be wondering. As a matter of fact, I would dare to say, yeah, you got to ignore reality. Why you got to ignore reality? Because reality is a big liar. If you think about it, everything that you are today is based on past decisions. Absolutely everything. So if you want a different future, if you want to be a different person, it starts now. Who are you being now? Because who you are being now is going to determine what's going to happen in the future, right? But it all starts with you. Who are you being today? Right? And if you don't like who you're being today, there's something that's getting in the way. There's a fat that you need to remove. And when I say that fat, I'm not referring to the physical fat as in the fat that we have in our body. I'm talking about the fat that you probably have here in your brain, a belief, a thought, a story you're telling yourself, a conditioning. So it all starts within. If you don't live yet where you want to be, there's something that's getting in the way, probably an action you're not taking, but that starts with you. Something that you believe about yourself, but that starts with you. So absolutely everything. Oh, and another thing I have to say too.
Yes, yes.
And this is tied to self-discovery. Anything that you want requires you to have a certain level of confidence within yourself, a certain level of trust within yourself, a certain level of belief about yourself. All that starts with the being. And when you notice that you don't have any of that, you don't trust yourself, you're not confident in yourself. That was me at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That starts with you understanding you at a deeper level and understanding what's really getting in the way. So self-esteem, not self-esteem, self-discovery is what I meant to say, is so fundamental. It's actually the basis to everything because everything starts and ends with you.
Right. That's right. Yeah, I was just listening to an audio book, and it talked about which aligns with what you're saying. Um, it was saying that there is, and I took note of it. But this idea that who we really are, the person that we're looking to discover, was in those formative years. Let's call them, I don't know, from what, 3 or 4, when you start to like a sponge gather things from others, maybe through our high teens, maybe early 20s. All of that is the covering up stage. It's the society, man, putting stuff on top of you and covering up that real you. It's like, because they're putting in the first half of life is the cover up. And before we get a chance, like you talked about earlier, being that baby that's easily able to fall down and get back up, like that's the essence of who you really are, right? Fall down, get right back up. But over time, you hear people say things like this or that, and then you start to conform to that stuff, right? So now that's the cover up. And then it talked about, if you become aware, if you are awakened, which you are certainly, then we spend the next half of our lives unpacking, taking stuff off. And so I love what you talked about, just being able to call reality a liar. It's that reality is what they dumped on you for the first half of your life. That's your reality. And the true you is waiting to be discovered. So I love the way that you outlined that. Yeah. Everything starts and stops with us.
Oh, yeah. And I want to say something too that I meant to say earlier and I didn't say. A lot of times what keeps us stuck in the reality that we're in is that we're paying too much attention to the reality. So that the decisions that we're making is based on the current reality. Who we're behaving is based on the current reality. What do I mean with that? Say, for example, if you're losing weight, I'm going to use that as an example. And you're working out, you're being this person, right? But reality is telling you, and you're weighing yourself, oh my God, I've been working out for a month and I'm still the same weights that I was before, right? Frustrating. So if you pay attention to that, you may ignore who you're being, right? and start making decisions based on that. Oh, you know what? What's the use of me working out if everything that I'm doing, I'm still not losing these pounds? Let me eat this cake. Let me eat this. Let me do this. And so then that's how you keep yourself in the same reality, because you're paying more attention to the reality that you're seeing right now, and you're making decisions based on that. When you don't even know what's going on in behind the scenes, right? You may be weighing the same amount right now, but because you've been working out, guess what? You're developing new habits.
Yep.
The muscles, they're breaking down and they're getting stronger, but you don't see that, right?
Yes.
You're getting healthier. Your blood pressure probably is going down, but you're not paying attention to that. You're not measuring your blood pressure because you don't care about that. You just care about those weights. So the point here is, a seed that's placed on the ground. Just because we don't see that tree, that plant coming up, doesn't mean that there are not things that are happening underneath it. There are roots that are taking place, right? And those roots are equally important to the tree and the plant, right? Because it needs to grow, it needs to spread, however deep it needs to spread, because from that root, it's going to absorb the nutrients. How does this relate to everything that you're doing? And you're not seeing those results, right? You're just seeing, I'm not making that money in that business. I'm not getting as many likes. Say, for example, if you're in business, I'm not losing that weight. There are other things that are happening underneath that ground. You're developing a habit of being the entrepreneur that you're supposed to be. You're developing the habit of being that whatever pounds you want to be, right? You're developing the mindset of that person. You're acquiring nutrients along the way. Those roots are getting longer and longer. You're not getting those likes if you're an entrepreneur or whatever, but guess what? There are people that are looking. There are people that are looking. They might not hit those likes, but they're like, oh yeah, okay. All right. You just never know. When we pay so much attention to the outside world can distract us. It could be so distracting.
Yep.
Gotta learn to ignore it. We gotta learn to ignore the unfollow. So did someone follow me? Oh my God, I'm not gonna see that way. Oh my God. We gotta ignore all that. And then we gotta ignore what people are saying too. I want to say this because I don't know who needs to hear this. In the process of us growing, we got to mind our environment. Oh, we got to mind our environment. Because when we're in the process of self-discovery, when we're in the process of change, there's certain things that we may go through that growth is not linear. Right? We're sometimes going to do some dips and we may think that we're not in the right track, but we are, right?
That's right.
And other people may not understand those dips. They might not understand the process of who we're becoming, right? And so when we're vulnerable, because we're human, right? When we're vulnerable, if someone is not in the same journey that we're in, something that they may say or they may do, we may take it accidentally personal, but it's not. Or they may not understand who we're being. And that's when we could be tempted to fall back to our own ways, our old ways, not own ways, old ways. Gotta mind your environment. You gotta mind it.
So important. That's so true. Yep. I don't know how many times I've experienced, some sort of radical change because the environment changed and the elements, with every given environment comes various elements, and it's the elements that we engage with that determine, how we develop, whether it's good or bad. So that is key. That is so key. You cannot stress that enough. Mining your environment. That's an absolute winner right there. Wow. Yeah, I'm going back through this episode, and I'm taking I can't take notes right now, but I'm so excited to go back and watch this recording and just take notes and just, really soak in everything that you're sharing, because there's such a depth to it, and it's so needed in our society. It's so needed. Not that I would say it to a person. Like you shared earlier, I just can't imagine the gentleman, saying that on that airplane. Again, you know what? I can imagine it because I bumped into a person yesterday and they said something to me and I just met them. I said, man, people are just not self-aware. It's just like, dude, this is first impressions, man. You're setting a tone and you just said something that like offended me and you don't even get it. And it's like, but anyway, so I can imagine that gentleman saying that to you on the plane. And it's unfortunate that we have.
I'm glad.
Well, you know what? Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
You want me to tell you why I'm glad?
I was going to say, please.
Those irritants. I just posted something on TikTok and Twitter that I'm going to post real soon in Instagram and Facebook. The irritants of life.
The irritants.
Man, the oyster. I don't know if people know where pearls come from. They actually come from oysters. The oyster, in order to live, it needs to open itself up, the shell up. But in the process, oh, I thought you wanted to say something. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, just me fixing it. Huh?
Oh, okay. It's okay. In the process,
right,
it makes itself vulnerable for a sand to irritate it. The way it deals with that irritant, it covers it with nacre, I think is how you say it in French, which is that shiny thing that we see in the pearl. It covers it. It covers it. That's how it deals with the irritant of life. So with that said, if you look it up, it's very interesting because how that compares to life.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to have irritants. We decide if we're going to close ourselves up because we don't want to be rejected, because we don't want someone to say this, because we don't want to bother this person because of this, because of that. Or are we going to make pearls?
Come on.
Are we going to make pearls out of irritant? That guy, I think I'm pretty sure the combination of not being able to breathe, right, climbing up the stairs, and what that guy said is what prompted me to want to lose weight. Yeah, he should have never said that. But I'm a big believer sometimes God utilizes irritants.
Yes.
To make us stronger, to propel us to our next level.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta be awake to see that.
Mm-hmm. That's so awesome. Yes. The shifting in perspective. There's so much to unpack. We don't have enough time to unpack because there's so much there. Oh my gosh, the shifting of perception and shifting of perspectives. Because I preach that from the mountaintop, man. It's created, like reframing it, assigning it a new meaning, so that it works for you and not against you. It's like we really cannot control much of life. Like we can't control the weather. We can't control how people behave and treat us. There's so much that is totally out of our control. But what God has graced us with is the ability to learn how to control this. And okay, that information that's coming in, I get to choose, but you said it. Got to be woke, got to be awake, got to be aware. And you have to really be conscious. And that's what really makes my heart, beat every day. And it really wakes me up to do what I do, because I see that if I'm as conscious as I am, aware as I am, and I still am growing and learning and stumbling and fumbling, there's a multitude of people out there who haven't even gotten to where I am. And I can add value to those people. I can reach back and say, hey, man, right? As I continue to grow, I can always reach back, right? And then we can expose ourselves to people that are on the next level like yourself. I see you as one that's on that next level that's been working through this and processing through this and helping others to process through that, which actually leads me to my last two questions that I had. They're around leadership. I'm really starting to move into and hone in on my love for leadership and leadership development. And I strayed away from it for a long time because it's so cliche. Oh, leadership development. It sounds normal. And I'm very imaginative. I'm very artistic, artsy. So I'm always trying to be original. I want to be original, right? And so I said, well, I can be original because I am an original. And so I'm going to be original because that's what I am. So it's okay to come into this space. So I say all that to say, one of the things that I believe is that in order to effectively lead others, we must first affectionately lead ourselves. So before we can effectively lead others, we must learn to affectionately lead ourselves. And I'm in that process of learning. My first question is, what is and if it would fall into the category of something that others might consider normal, that's totally okay. But I'm looking for, is there any unique to you, specific, that you're willing to share? Self-care, ritual, meditation, process, anything that you do that you love on and care on yourself with, a way of loving on yourself and caring for yourself and keeping your spirits high, that you do in your private time, that others could glean from or be made aware of and say, I never thought about doing that. I should look into, possibly doing that one day. Is there any self-care practice that you do, to just remain rooted and founded in the truth of, who you are?
Yes, actually, every morning, as I'm drinking my coffee, I actually like my alone time by myself, quiet, and I just sit there. Now, it may look strange because it's like, okay, so you just sit there. No, I don't like talking to anyone. I'm going to explain why, though. I don't like listening to anything. And that's because the first person I want to listen to is myself. We're so quick to want to have conversations, turn on the TV. No, I first like to check in with myself and see, how am I doing? How am I feeling? How am I feeling? If I'm in Milan, one of the first things I like to do, I drink my coffee while on my balcony and then look outside. Because that's my precious moment for me to connect with myself, connect with how I'm feeling. Did I sleep right? Am I jet lagged? Because if I'm jet lagged, then I'm going to take several deep breaths and prepare myself mentally. Because now I know, okay, if I'm very tired, I'm probably not going to be myself. See, those few minutes that you give yourself to yourself is so important, because that's part of you having a very precious and deep relationship with you.
Yeah.
If the first thing we do is get up, prepare our coffee, watch TV, we're already programming ourselves and we don't even realize it. And not only that, we're ignoring the very first person that we should not be ignoring, which is ourselves. We're too quick to pay attention to everything else, but not us. So I love every morning to just give myself those few minutes, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. I'm just drinking my coffee. Do not talk to me. I'm not being antisocial. I'm just being social with Aura right now.
That's
because
right.
I need to connect with me. So I do that every morning. And I've noticed that when I do that, I know I'm connected with my body. I know how I'm feeling. If I'm tired, if I'm feeling off, I get to hear myself. It sounds a little crazy, but it's not. We're always having a conversation with ourselves, but we don't really realize it. I get to pay attention to what's going on in my head, and then I get to decide, how am I going to program myself today? Because that's what I do, especially every time I'm doing a trip. That's what I do. I have to do that. Because can you imagine, be like, something to drink? No. If I'm tired, something to drink. But I'm connected with my body. And I know if I'm tired, it had nothing to do with that passenger. It had to do with me. We are so automatic, and giving myself those 15 minutes to myself, at least, it helps me be in charge rather than be on automatic. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you are hitting on all cylinders. Wow, this is so confirming. This is so, again, I'm just referring to this audiobook that I'm listening to. You are so confirming that voice. That is not strange. We need to hear that voice. We need to hear that real voice, the voice that's authentic to us. And so I love that practice. I'm gonna, My mentor, trained me in the concept of centering. And to me, listening to what you said, that's a form of centering. But I love the discipline and the leadership of I'm going to lead myself into the quiet space. Forget that TV, internet, her, him, them, everybody else around me, my voice. So if you're watching, if you're listening, your voice has value. You need to be leaning into your voice. And whether it's a cup of coffee in the morning, whether it's a glass of water, whether it's a cup of tea, whatever it is, let's start to, if you're not already doing it, guys, let's start to carve out 5, 10, 15 minutes in the morning. Set your alarm just a little earlier and carve in some time to really get centered and to hear that voice that is within you, because your voice, it has great, great value. And the more, I'm just going to believe, the more that we lean into it, the more we're going to recognize that voice, because we're going to get familiar with it, and we're going to learn to trust it. So thank you for sharing that tip. Yes. My last question is, and let me just do a time check, make sure we're good. Okay. My last question is, and this is my favorite topic, the self-concept, self-image, self-idea. There's so many different names for it. What would you say is your most inspiring idea of you? What idea do you have of yourself that is the most inspiring? Like when you think about it, it like wakes you up, or it sets you on fire again. It motivates you when nothing else can motivate you. So for example, one of the ideas, because I've got several different ideas about myself, but one of them, because I love imagining things colorful, bright, vivid, right? Like bringing the color back to life, right? So one of the things that I tell myself, and one of the ideas that I have of myself, is I am God's communication channel, tuned into the frequency of heaven, right? Downloading amazing ideas and inspiration that I will share with the world, right? That's just an idea that I have of myself. I am God's communication channel. Like I am literally the creator's communication channel, man. Like my voice is to be heard. Like he is channeling through me. So just wanted to give you just an example, right? Of like, what idea does Aura have of Aura that's inspiring to Aura?
It's my vision.
Mm-hmm.
It's my vision. Every time I think about that version of me that is disciplined, that version of me that has everything that I want, that version of me that is the real me, right? Like who I am right now. I mean, we're so many things. Let me just clarify that. But when I think of my vision, it's my highest self. And she inspires me. She inspires me. When I think of that slimmer version of me, and it's not about the slimming part, it's that I love who she is. She's disciplined. She doesn't eat just to eat. No, she eats because she's nurturing herself, right? When I think about the Aura, like for example, right now, that's here. I'm the vessel of what God created me to be. And so that vision is what keeps me going. This is why I say a vision is very important. It's not just dreaming. I mean, if it's hard for you to get a vision, then start dreaming. But dream is not enough, at least to me. When you have that vision, it's something you can see, feel, touch, smell. Ooh, that's powerful. That's powerful. So it's that version of me doing all the things that I know I'm meant to be doing that keeps me going every single day.
Yes. Love it, love it, love it. Have a vision. Yes. Without a vision, as the Bible says, that the people cast off all restraints. And what I've learned is, without a vision, they cast off restraints because they don't see value.
Yes.
When you cast off restraints, that means you've stopped caring. If I cast off all restraints, I'll just do whatever I want to do. Who cares what happens? I just flippantly do whatever comes, whatever. Like if you are casting off everything that would discipline you and restrain you, you've lost value. You don't have it. There's no value there. And so where there's no vision, there's no value for your life. And so you're hitting on it. You have to have a vision. You do. You have to have a vision. That is so true. Well, everything that I envisioned and times 10, so much more, you have shown up and delivered. I thank you so much for the value that you have shared with us. I'm going to take the bio and the headshot and the links and everything that you sent me, putting it all down in the show description, show notes. We're going to provide the viewers with ways to get in contact with you and everything that you provide. That'll be a part of just the overall package. But I just want to thank you so much for spending this moment with me. You have been such a gracious, loving, giving, caring, inspiring vessel this morning, and just in this moment. I know that the listeners are going to receive so much value. I received so much value from everything that you shared. You are definitely one that I have already mentally reserved. I got to bring you back because you're just too full. There's too much going on in you to and so my hope is that as this thing exponentially grows, that the next time I bring you back, you'll be pouring into an even bigger audience. But oh man, there's so much there to unpack that we didn't even scratch the surface. So we definitely got to do a part 2, part 3,
Yes.
and bring you back. Yes, yes, yes. So
Thank you.
blessed by everything that you shared. Is there anything before we get out of here? Is there anything else that you would want to share as a parting message, a parting piece of advice? Just always want to, give you that, last platform. Let the audience hear your voice last. Is there anything that you want to share that should be like a takeaway, a nugget, just something for people to remember?
Lean in and get curious. Get curious about you. Get curious about everything and lean in. So many times we want to get away, and the more we get away, we just miss the gold that is meant for us. So keep leaning in, keep being curious. You're the answer to everything.
Amen. You are the answer to everything. We will wrap it up there. Love you guys, praying for you guys, believing you guys. Until next time, this is Terrell C.W. Lynch. You guys know who I is, Mr. What. This has been the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the place where possibilities become perspective. Until next time, love.